Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Cat's Track. We post an interview with an amazing Canadian each weekday for your daily inspiration. Today, I would like to introduce you to my friend Sean Crump. Sean was born right here in this amazing city, Calgary, Alberta. He also has a great partner in Christine and an awesome dog named Iggy. Besides Sean's loved ones, he is passionate about spending time with Christine in their yard and garden, which has always been his preferred escape from external pressures. So nice to connect with the earth. He also loves hockey and has enjoyed the opportunity to watch the playoffs outside. Sean is also an advocate for inclusion, equal opportunity, and community equity for people living with disabilities. Friends, you'll find his full bio attached. Sean, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks so much for having me, Catherine. I'm excited to chat and catch up with you a little bit.
Me too. It's good to see you. It's been a long time.
Yeah, definitely. It seems how quickly time goes by with this whole social distancing and all of that kind of stuff. You forget how long it's been when you finally get back in touch with people and how much has kind of gone and occurred since the last time we got a chance to connect.
It's so true. I'm very much looking forward to this interview with you because I love the work that you do. And I just love the passion that you have around the same things that I do, obviously. And I'm delighted. So are you ready for the questions that I sent your way?
Yeah, of course, definitely. Let's do it. I'm excited to chat.
Awesome. Okay. What's been your greatest challenge in the last few months?
So really, and probably not too dissimilar to other people, it was really kind of redefining what our business looked like, you know, um, what obstacles we now have in this unprecedented time, and how we can kind of, without redefining what we do completely, how can we pivot slightly to adjust for what the new normal is, and you know, do something that isn't a bandage, but do something that will continue to provide impact and be something as resourceful even after everything kind of settles down and renormalizes and all of that. So we didn't want to really create, something that we can do for a finite amount of time and then, switch everything back to how we were doing it before, but how can we kind of fundamentally change the way we've been operating, and what things have we been doing possibly incorrectly, if you will, that we can adjust and reaccount for. So adapting all of those things was certainly a struggle on the onset, because it was so immediate almost. It was just, here it is, here's what we have to do. Now, how do we react? So trying to take a step back and look at all of those kind of things. It was also re-engaging with the conversations we were having before it. So before the pandemic came in and before COVID and all of those kind of things. And how do we get back to having the conversations, and how do we get back to having, the discussions with people about what we do, the importance behind accessibility and inclusion, and how it can impact their businesses. And again, as you can imagine, if nobody's coming in regardless of ability, what's the purpose of making it more accessible for more people to not come in? So really trying to figure out how we can get all of that stuff in, and ensuring that while we look at our business and while we look at our conversations, before COVID hit, we were looking into the merger with a great company, Generous Solutions, and how we can keep that on track and progress that forwards with all of the chaos kind of going on. So
That's
those are kind of
awesome.
big things for us to work on.
Very good, Sean. Tell me, are you starting to find now, what date are we at? August 25th, 2020.
Yeah.
Are you finding now that businesses are, opening, and of course, the conversations that you were having with potential prospects that we're looking at being more inclusive for all. Are you finding that they're now starting to pick that up? Like, are they looking at, hey, this is perfect time, things are a little bit slow, Yeah, let's get going on this now, or what's the general consensus out there?
Yeah, it's kind of six in one, half a dozen in the other. So there's, half of the groups that we were talking with where now's the perfect time. We're looking at restructuring and all of what their new normal is going to look like. And then there's, another group of organizations and businesses that are really struggling and feeling the impact. So, anything in terms of additional costs, even if we can find ways to associate it with a grant or associate it with, an ROI in a 6-month trajectory, it's just the immediate impact that they're facing and the decisions that they're having to make, beyond just accessibility, but whether or not their doors are going to be able to reopen at all. It's really kind of those two severities, but it has been nice because we're seeing an increasing trend in the businesses that are coming up and approaching us or re-engaging with us about, well, now that we're looking at this and we are trying to look at kind of anticipating what that new normal looks like, universal design falls really well into what that may be. So, some of the conversations we've been having are kind of around that. What does new normal look like? And with everybody having this, 6 foot distancing, 2 meter spacing, patios, I must say personally, I have never loved going to a patio more than this summer because I can get to every single table. I have the ability to get my wheelchair, in and around the space very easily. But the thing is if this is becoming something that's normalized, when COVID is no longer an issue, whether that's through a vaccine or whatever that may end up becoming, are any people going to be comfortable with going out onto a patio and having somebody, a stranger, sitting on their lap, essentially like it used to be? Or are people's personal space preferences going to ultimately change forever? Are they just going to prefer, even if it's 3 or 4 feet from somebody they don't know, in that, new caution of illness or germs or whatever that may look like? So it is really kind of trying to work with businesses in understanding that universal design isn't accessible design. It's redesigning a space to fit everybody, make it more comfortable for everybody, and really utilize the space that they have to optimize the business that they can provide.
Yeah, yeah, very good. Thank you, Sean.
Yeah.
And what about the 3 things that you'd like to share with us today?
Yeah. So, I think that the big thing for me that I was able to sit back and think about, and I think the one thing that's been really nice about having a little bit of time and having some of this isolation is the ability to kind of reflect and self-reflect on personal things, but also kind of in a business sense. And I think the first one was that I was able to look at was kind of, there's 2 ways to look at the situation or any given situation, and this one really brought it to light, was whether you're going to be reactionary to a situation, which tends to have kind of a negative perspective or state of mind associated with it, where something bad happens or something unexpected happens and you take a negative reaction to it, as opposed to the second, where it's more reflective, it's more thoughtful. It allows you to step away from the situation for a moment and really try and look at the opportunistic components or elements of it. Like I said, for example, the more space on a patio, it's a negative, bad situation that we're in, but you're starting to hear these silver linings from different businesses and from different people, that they've been able to draw out of these things. And if you remember back when, COVID first came about, it was very, very doom and gloom. It was very negative, and it was those kind of things. So continually reminding myself, and for everybody else, continuing to remind yourselves that there are opportunities, that there are certain circumstances that you can take advantage of, even if the initial situation is a negative one that you're trying to deal with or overcome.
Well, and
Uh,
you've certainly overcome a lot, so that's great advice for everyone. And for you to pivot that quickly, I know you did because you're so resilient and positive always. So great advice for everyone, Sean. Thank you.
Thanks, Catherine. And then, we actually have some really exciting news coming in Q4. So it's a little bit hush hush right now, but I would really like everybody to stay tuned. I think we're going to kind of redefine how accessibility and inclusion looks for people, and how that comes about to them. I don't think that having to call 10 places to find one accessible one, or events having to identify that it's an accessible event so people with disabilities can attend specifically, because again, it's not like events are advertising, friendly to women or friendly to men or friendly to certain ethnicities. We have some stuff coming about that I think will change the way that that message is shared and the way that people are able to identify and access spaces more inclusively, and kind of at the same way people do or take advantage of in kind of normal society or within our communities already. So we're really excited about some of the stuff that we have coming out in the next couple of months. And I think that, I think you're going to love it. I really do.
Well, I know I will, and I know my dad is shining down from heaven right now. That's music to my ears. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. And then finally, we are just announcing our merger with Generous. So as I said, it was something that we wanted to make sure that we progressed and kept mindful of through the chaos and everything that was going on over the last 6 months. But we stayed diligent. We continued progressing that. We worked with some amazing people to help facilitate it. Stan Peak being one of the main contributors to keeping that on track and making sure all of our boxes were checked on that one. And at the same time, not forgetting that we were still running businesses, and to not kind of get stuck in the trenches of a merger and forget everything else that we were, trying to continue keeping momentum behind. So that's finally been, buttoned up, finalized. We are publicly announcing the merger, and we are really, really excited about what that means and what that's going to bring to everything in the whole. So we're redefining again that event side of ticket purchasing. Generous Solutions platform now has a back end that is accessible as well and inclusive. So organizations that are hosting events or putting events up can actually have individuals with any kind of ability or disability do that on their behalf. So it provides a couple new opportunities and job opportunities for people to do that event management side of things and the ticketing side of things as well. And that's just kind of one of the first stages that we've implemented so far, and a lot more to come over the next couple of months. So
How exciting.
We're really, really keen.
Oh, and congrats. Is it going to be a new name or new brand or?
So we're keeping the brands the same. We're going to actually have an umbrella company hold all of the businesses, because we felt that rebranding at this time, we're just kind of really starting to see the benefit of our marketplace stance right now with our brand, and to go and change that right now, I think would be detrimental to all the work that we put in so far. So keeping all of the brands, kind of having an overall company holding all of these businesses in alignment, and still running them kind of independent of one another, but tightly connected with one another's kind of overall goals, missions, and visions.
I love it. Well done, my friend.
Thank you.
And what is the last thing that you'd like to share with everyone today?
I think that was it. Q4 projects, the merger, and keeping opportunistic and keeping positive about, even though there may be some negative things that have occurred or circumstances that have arose, there's always light at the end of the tunnel, and I think silver linings to everyone's way of thinking. If they can find it, they can do it, I guess.
Aw, that's awesome, Sean. Thank you so much for joining us today. I love the work that you're doing, and you're the right guy to lead it.
Thanks so much, Catherine.
Thank you, Sean. Say hi to Christine for me.
Yeah, of course. Thanks
Awesome.
again for having me. This was a lot of fun. Really
It was
appreciate
great.
it.
Great to have you.
Yeah.
Well, everyone, that was my dear friend, Sean Crump with Universal Access. Check out what they're doing and watch what's happening in the next 3 months. I'm very excited to learn this, and I'm sure it'll change our world in a very positive way. Thanks again for joining us for Cat's Track, and we'll see you next time.